This is the best episode so far for the second half of season 2. Yes, I know we're only a couple chapters in, but let's talk about it. Spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't seen the most recent episode for Purple Hyacinth, which as of when I'm recording this is episode 79, titled Sinking Suspicion. Thank you so much for all the growth in the past few months as we've blown past the 500 subscriber mark. Still learning that Chica dance. Hopefully it'll be up before I hit 1k at this point. With the introduction out of the way, let's begin. Poor Lauren. She has been bracing for this trial or whatever is going to happen when she goes into work today, but she's surprisingly honest and steadfast. However, we see moments of her resolve waver, especially when she's coming down the stairs in the morning and when she talks to Soleil. Both times we see kind of the sound effects of the grip and her shaking hands, trying to hold on to something to give her stability. Interestingly, the newspaper is still in volume 10, and I don't remember if the title Le Journal has always been on the newspapers, but this time the headline about the circus takes over. I still recognize the other tidbits from previous Le Journal newspapers, so I can assume that this is the same issue or the same company, but this does mean that we haven't hit New Year's yet, since it should say volume 11 when we switch over to XX28, the year. I know we haven't seen any party or whatnot, but I always forget exactly where we are in the timeline, so this is kind of my way of figuring that out without meticulously plotting that time. Tristan knows about the lies. This somewhat changes my impression of his initial introduction to the story. I had always assumed because when he lied to Lauren back then during the riot, or almost riot, I had always assumed because when he lied to Lauren saying that he had believed her, that he didn't know her ability, and it's fairly normal for people to lie, so I didn't really look too much into it. But now it seems like Tristan deliberately told a lie to get Lauren's attention, similar to how Kieran did to Lauren with the Flemings investigation. I should have known, since Lauren has never attempted to really hide her ability and is very, very forward with it. And I'm sure younger Lauren was even worse about it, so there's no way that Tristan wouldn't know, but I guess we finally got some confirmation for it. The large gap between Tristan looking sad for Lauren and the transition to the clock at the APD was a good touch, because as we, the readers, we could feel the anticipation build up of Lauren entering the 11th as we're scrolling down the page. The mood in the APD is extremely in contrast with its original introduction in episode 7, which is crazy to think about. With this neutral lit office, it was so bright when we first got introduced to it, and this place used to feel, happy and bright to Lauren, and now look at just how exhausted she is with all these stairs. With Lauren's conversation with Kieran, usually when she acts like she has pauses in her speech, Kieran usually picks that up, so I wonder if he did notice it this time or not. It seems like he didn't, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he did notice that something happened to her after the circus. And it's actually cool that we learn more about the incident between Sake and Lauren when we only got one panel of it in episode 48, because when Lauren told Kieran information that we had already known, we kind of got that blurred out and we skipped through it, so it was nice to not have repeated info dumps, and we actually got a new perspective or a new angle to this incident that we've got a brief snapshot of. I'm sure Sake has many people that want him dead, so I wonder who actually killed him. Could it have been Sandman that shot him here? I don't really think so, since Sandman lost contact almost a year ago, and we don't know exactly when this shooting happened. I want to say that Sake didn't get shot immediately after his interrogation with Lauren, right? That wouldn't make sense. But Sake has also been gone out of the country for a while, so it could be Sandman. I guess we might find out information when we get Sandman back into the story to pick up the photo. Her line, Lauren's line of "I could have walked away but didn't," goes to speak how much she still is an officer at heart that wants to save people's lives, that she's willing to put herself in danger for even someone that she hates. Now you could take it in the way that, say, dying would mean losing valuable information, which is probably why Lauren kind of acted on it then and would have even now if Kieran wasn't there with her at the circus. This goes to show just how important Kieran is as a deterrent for her safety. Now Lauren does make some good points that, she can't just run away from this, because both Hecate and, the guard and whoever else saw her at the circus. But what a cliffhanger that Lauren is going to tell the truth. Since we can never tell when she lies, it is highly likely that she might just play around with the facts to leverage her position, since telling everything would put an even bigger target on her back. That being said, the target on her back is already pretty big, so I don't know what's stopping her. This episode gave us much needed insight into Tristan and Lauren's relationship, her past with Sake, and how supportive and crucial Kieran is to Lauren's well-being. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the 80s.